Good. Good, good, good. Ace Attorney Chronicles resumes. Starting case 3. Cases 1 and 2, I mentioned it before at the end of last stream. Not really thrilled with either one of them, which is unfortunate. I think every case from the last game I liked, and so far I don't like either of these. And that could just be that they're building up to a really good one, or it could just be that they have somebody else writing them who it's just not quite gelling with me. We'll find out. Crystal Tower. The Return of the Departed Soul. Is Tesla going to show up?
End of the century great exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of this century.
Hurrah.
Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success. But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that
Is that when steam-powered fish robots were invented? We have those right now in the future.
The matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the great exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park,
Threatening to pierce the gleaming canopy.
Deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
Or to darkness. Get it? Because in Shadowbringers, the truth, the dark is better than light.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people. The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Better be time travel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology. A glimpse into the future. A world first. A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine.
Oh, okay. Teleporter. Alright.
A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location. Whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
He spent a couple of thruppence on that reassembled there. Well, don't send a rich person. Don't you have any pores hanging around? What if he dies? People with money are important.
In but a few moments from now, this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye, complete an incredible journey through the air. To arrive an instant later on the Crystal Tower behind you! Yes, 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 yes!
Chrono Trigger? Oh my gosh! He disappeared and he left his pendant behind. And we're gonna have to go 400 years back in time to find him. And he's gonna be a princess. Dots for breakfast? What's wrong with toast? Runo! Runo, are you listening? Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris? What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. That's almost a kilometer. Didn't you like what I cooked for breakfast? No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Today's paper is full of news about the Great Exhibition again. Ah, yes. The Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley? Did you say something, Iris? Oh gosh, you're even more down. They brought the music back for 1 second so they could fade it out again. Uwag! When did you arrive, Mr. Naruto? I've been here for about half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here. You know, because breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in vim. So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observations. What? Let's see. Yes. For example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced, therefore, that... let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has. Ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. Thanks, again. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now. 6 months? Since I was forbidden from working in court. So, oh, we've hopped around to that degree? So we did... Case 1 was probably around where we are right now, where Susato is in Japan and did her case, and then we flashed back to Soseki-san's second case, and now we've gone forward at least 6 months to where he hasn't been able to practice law for 6 months, and maybe I don't know about that. Like, the climax of the final case is going to be the flashback to when he lost his lawyer credentials. Or maybe that'll be the second to last case, and then, yeah, they'll have to do it that way, and then go, okay, the final case is going to be the last case temporally, chronologically. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned. Oh. Well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley? Did you say something, Iris? Back to moping. What's the matter with Mr. Sholmes today? He seems even more down in the dumps than me. I know, and the Great Exhibition is open. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go see it together? I want to, of course I do, but I can't. Not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from? Is that it? I don't remember hearing that you're working on a case, Hurley. Suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Now we're going to hint once again at this event that we're not going to talk about until it's time. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of murder that took place at a London pawnbrokery. Oh wait. Turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. Wait, I don't remember this. Did he have his... Is this a flashback to game 1? I actually don't remember now. Hold on. Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial. Of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent people in court revoked. Did Sholmes show up with fake evidence? Is that what happened? Oh my god, I actually forget. If all this time I've been like, oh my god, they keep flashing back to this thing that never happened, or that we haven't seen what it is yet, is it something that happened? I have actually forgotten, even though it wasn't long ago that I played that game. Oh, was it because I had them play the Morse code in court? And they were like, "Oh, like you deliberately played this thing that caused like national secrets to be." Maybe that was it. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing. You have, haven't you, Runo? Reading all those big fat tomes about British law up in your room, and the notes about Sholmes' old cases. Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider, specifically Lord Strongheart, at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall. Lord Strongheart? Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice, not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to be the best lawyer I could, and I can't do that just sitting around here. The whole of London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art and feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things and the world will be watching. Oh, do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons. Look down on? Do you mean those things fly? Yes, of course, unless you shoot them with my gun. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air. But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. Objection. I can't understand it at all. I'm a dum-dum. That's true of a lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things will just be common knowledge. Plus, they'll have the internet. I suppose they must be. Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very questionable. Something went wrong on the open experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it, though. I'd love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are. Oh my, says the innocent 10-year-old girl. See here. Every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to the darkness, to the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. Shadowbringers was the best expansion. Shadows cast behind, is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? Oh, am I supposed to read it? I'll read it later. Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add? That's not like you. What sort of cases? Shh! Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening. You're acting very strangely, Hurley. What do you mean, Iris? Well, usually, the more mysterious and complicated a case is, the better Hurley's mood. Ah. Is it really a case that's bothering you? Iris, please, you mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes? Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way at once to the crime scene. That was a deep sigh. Alright, shall I read the papel? Every article on the front page is news about the Great Exhibition. Public experiments to demonstrate brand new scientific ideas, cultural exhibits from around the globe. It's all so positive and so hopeful about the coming century. We must all go see it properly before too long. Lost cat? Maybe he went through a cat door. So many glowing reports about the Great Exhibition and everything that's going on there, other than this rather gloomy-looking one, that is. Wait, what? What's the matter, Runo? The Reaper attacked. That's Lord Van Zieks. This must be what Mr. Sholmes was talking about. What are some ruffians? Something to intimidate man of justice. Knives and pistols. Blackguards. French court hears glass eye case. The Juge de Paix of Neuilly was presented today with a most curious case of a lady who refused to pay her dues for the purchase of one glass eye. The whole affair began when Madame Pluyette, a defendant, ordered the eye as a replacement for the natural eye she had lost. Upon its arrival, she found that she could see no more with it than she could before, and became incensed at the thought of paying for a deficient product. The Juge de Paix attempted to reason with the madam, but the endeavor proved to be something. Altamont Gas Company, they steal your gas. No, they don't. I'm sorry, that was slander. Does he know any more, I wonder? And then I asked him. Can I zoom in and read the other articles? They're also in... Retrospective. On what, though? Public health report. On what, though? Lost cat. On what, though? It says in the paper that Lord Van Zieks was attacked. That's terrible. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Only too well, in fact. Yes. Prosecutor Barak Van Zieks. They say that if the Reaper is prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. And then I threw my Mountain Dew into the candelabra behind me. Even if the defendant is found not guilty, once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Van Zieks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. Although it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. Oh my goodness, is he alright then? Is Lord Van Zieks hurt? My dear fellow, how on earth would I know? Well, in the article here, it says, as to what of Lord Van Zieks and his condition, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning edition. Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No, I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps. Dun dun dun. Bing. Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha! You really are a shameless liar sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going. Well then, see you later, indeed. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out the door. Oh, well, that's what you look like now. Alright then, Runo, let's get going. Oh, Iris, what are you wearing? I've got change to go to the Great Exhibition. You're going to take me. I've gotten so many spam calls today. It's very annoying. I never used to get spam calls, and I get a lot of spam text messages too. What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court. Oh, well that sounds fun too. You're going to take me there then. Alright, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you? Of course, and after the Supreme Court, then we'll go see the Great Exhibition. Strange costume change for her. The Mickey Mouse ears. It's been about 6 months. We know. Oh, since I was last here. But some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. Inappropriate. Doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there, on the floor. Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here. One moment. Incredibly weird. I wanted to check the voicemail because whoever it was left a voicemail. And I'm like, is it a spam? And it was. I don't think it was a butt dial. Like there was just some kind of background noise, but it wasn't like there was nobody there or moving or anything. It was just background noise. Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here. Of course. I was forgetting you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. Was she here? When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. I understand you wish to speak with me. Oh, Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I've kept you waiting a while. My apologies. Oh no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to bother him at all. Mal Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in this grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do. And it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attentions as a result, so be it. Well, nice to know where I stand. So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Well, thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as a defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens. Bruno, just take a deep breath and come out with it. Tell me about this symposium. All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them all will take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly. Doves for emphasis. London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? Exactly. Doves for emphasis. The future of policing. Ugh! Why does she keep saying ugh? Are the doves hitting her in the face? Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that's alarming. Exactly, doves for emphasis. It's extremely alarming. Ugh! If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. 12, 223, Sorry? By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail every one now. What? Oh, how fascinating. It all began 15 years ago. I was... And then I got a game over. We just go directly to the end credits. There's just a shot of Naruhodo's grave. And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission. To kill chaos. Oh, right, yes, that's wonderful. Exactly, no doves. Wonderful is precisely what it will be. Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful? I actually drifted off for the most part. He's surprisingly ardent about forensic science. Is he surprisingly ardent about letting me get back to work? I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked, and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened, but the thing is, it made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system, and I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Okay, here it comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling. If that tragic accident hadn't happened, if they had just thought to put locks on the doors that didn't slide closed whenever the ship tilts, I wouldn't be here in this office now. Oh, he still would have died, though. Oh, no, would he? Oh, I forget. Did she, she stepped on her cat and, fell and pushed him and he banged his head? I guess it didn't have anything to do with the door. Mr. Asagi was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? It's not making any sense. Never mind. I've read all of the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean... As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain. Doves for emphasis. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's wonderful news, Runo. In fact, I believe I have the perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope. Of course, please. Tell me more. You described it as a curious affair? Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no. Yes, I read about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see. How was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think. Instantaneous kinesis, as in moving things with a snap of the fingers. They don't go click. Listen, that was a snap. That's right, it's just what my herbal blend needs, a dash of devil-may-care. Whatever this serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage, and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. Odi Asman? Odai as man? Like he died as a man? On his feet? In battle? An inventor and a well-known figure in society. A large explosion? A man died? The man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow with a ridiculous German accent on the charge of murder. What? Murder? If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet with him at the prison. There is very little time for you to carry out any kind of investigation. The Great Exhibition, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and a terrible German accent. I feel out of my depth before I've even started. Still, we should go to the prison straight away then, and try to meet with this German professor, don't you think? Definitely. Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There's a connection with our mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh! With Lord Van Zieks. How? Hmm? 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 Can I interest you in a newspaper? That reminds me, have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition. Of course. No, not that. The story on the back page. What story? You see, there was this woman in France who bought a glass eye. The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not? Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he? There's no need for concern. Lord Van Zieks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you. Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know. Very well. If it interests you. It does, strangely. Fortunately, Lord Van Zieks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He is a very capable fighter. That's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked, though? Do we know? It's related to events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Van Zieks. I thought we're 6 months. We're 6 months later. So, after I beat him twice or 3 times, 5 months passed. Then he did this, and now it's a month later. Got it. But the man was acquitted. I've no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money? A deplorable situation. However, because it's not perjury, we can't send anyone to jail for it. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman, Mr. Odie Asman. Did you say Assman? No. That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition. Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality the head of a significant criminal organization. Unbelievable. I thought they would have just used a poor person. I wonder, could I ask you something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why do you use Lord Van Zieks as a prosecutor? He seems to lose a hell of a lot to people who have no idea what they're doing. All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with mysterious ends outside the courtroom. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Van Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but something's clearly going on here. I have Van Zieks work for the prosecution service for 2 reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. Secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials have nothing to do with him. But that doesn't make sense. How can you explain the way so many have died, if not by someone's hand? Van Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the Crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement. I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget. 11 hours late? That's quite something. That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. Sure stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Van Zieks now? I would assume he is at his office. Right. I'll go and ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Harebrain's defense entirely in your hands. What would you have done if I hadn't showed up here today? Of course, yes. Thank you very much, my lord. So I could go to the prosecutor's office or to the prison. Go to the prison. The warden said cell 11. That's this one. Oh, there's someone curled up in a ball in the back corner. Look. What's his name again? Professor Albert Harebrain. Wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Harebrain. Who are you? I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer! Ah, was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? Sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration. That demonstration was... The magnificent demonstration was... It was an out-and-out success by anyone's calculation. I'm not doing a very good job. His eyes are too anime. They're distracting me from the beautiful nation of Germany. But despite that... No one listens! No lawyer believes in the science. When it's explained, they all leave. At high velocity. Now's probably not a good time to mention that your zeal made my concentration leave for a while, too. Talk to me about instantaneous kinesis. So in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exhibition Showground yesterday. Yes! Or rather, no. The devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion. Well, it sounds the same to me. You were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating. Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible, using sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam the particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high-level science. Wouldn't you need, like, a computer? Like a computer that wasn't run on vacuum tubes and physical cogs? Oh, but dare to imagine it, dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think! One moment I could be here in the cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Parisian Theatre, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet would be within reach. But you would need line of sight. Wouldn't you have to bounce the particles off of a satellite? You don't have those yet. So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days? I don't really see it like that. What do you mean, Iris? Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly... the planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like it had shrunk. My words! That's exactly right! Well, what are the implications? Nogia, it is a finger. I mean, it is a He-10, and a lawyer, and a finger, and a game, and a wagging. I did not notice the charms on her backpack. I was distracted by her Mickey Mouse ears. It's Crazy German Accent Day today. Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the looks of it. This is yet another case of just because you can, doesn't mean you should, I suppose. The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works. But without a practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment. Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money. Money that young scientists like you don't have. That's exactly it, yes. Hurley's always complaining about it. He says the government should invest more in science. Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Osman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? Let's talk about the demonstration itself first. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday. The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he? Yes, you could interpret the results that way as you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in the strictest sense, the experiment was a failure. But at the same time, it was a great success. You lost me. I saw it with my own eyes. Right there in front of me, Mr. Osman was spontaneously disassembled. And then, everything was going exactly as my calculations had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. Speed of light? Not really instantaneous, is it? It's travel time. It's relativity, and so on. However, the machine exploded, and Mr. Osman in fact perished? Yes, I can't deny that part of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is the large explosion that killed Mr. Osman was an accident, correct? But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder. I was responsible for a man's death. That is the immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished. At once. But... Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident. I see. Hurley and I were talking this morning, you know. He said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder. How exactly? Aren't you a lawyer? Didn't you just study being a lawyer for 6 months without stop? And you're like, if someone dies, isn't it the same punishment whether it was an accident or murder? Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody. On what grounds? Ah yes, it's newly established here in Britain. The Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. That one passed me by. Good thing I have a 10-year-old with me. But if the case is treated as murder, then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. Why didn't you patent it beforehand? Or patent it. They call it patent in England. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. That's why it's imperative this whole incident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial. We're going to gloss over the whole, like, you know, if you murdered him, then you get the death penalty, but if it's an accident, then nothing bad happens. We'll gloss over that. He's like, but what about the money that I'm going to get from selling this machine? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Odie Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thanked my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then. Money for scientific research? I'm so envious. As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really? An archangel, even. He's prepared to fund a great demonstration of my hypothesis for presentation at the Great Exhibition. Man, why do you have so many long words? It's hard to German. It's hard to German that much in one sentence. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with money and an exceptional engineer. He produced a machine to my precise specifications. But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion. Maybe you should have freaking tested it on a dog first or something. As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life. Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying. If I show you this newspaper, now what? How could this have happened? You must feel awful. As well as a man losing his life, the Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too. Right? Property damage? Isn't that more important than a man's life? I know what happened. It must have been that. That? I mean that. The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. Whoa. The restaurant was in France, apparently. Hopped across the border just to eat. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins into my pocket. They're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. It's not... How do you do the R? I'm doing it like Frenchily somehow. Not wrong. No. What's the word that I learned? I tried. Oh, Generalprobe. Okay, I guess it is like a divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is. For a scientist, he has a very bad accent. Long and illogical. Now I guess I go visit Van Zieks? Sure, why not?